Hello, amazing artists. This is Miss Madden again with a new lesson. Today, we are going to be able to name and use some of the elements of art to express an art idea. We're going to be able to use the element of art line to create organic shapes. And those shapes are going to look like germs. We're also going to learn how to use lines to indicate the principle of art known as movement. Because, of course, germs can move. We'll also be able to explain what an organic shape is and maybe even draw some of those. So, are you ready to begin? Great. You're going to need a piece of paper and a box of crayons. Or, if you don't have crayons, you're more than welcome to use colored pencils. So, while you get your materials together, I'm going to get the video set up for a demonstration. Okay, here we go. Let's get started. I'd like to talk to you for just a second about what organic shapes are. If you look at the shapes right down here, these are shapes that you can recognize. A square, rectangle, triangle, circle, star, and a heart. Those are easy to recognize, and we have given names to those. But if you look at the shapes that I have up here at the top, those shapes are not as easy to name. Organic shapes are shapes that often occur naturally in nature. Maybe a different kind of leaf shape, or maybe a cloud shape or a splash. Maybe a spiral shape that you might see in a shell. Maybe there's some footprints on the ground. Or maybe there is a new virus that we are learning about and it has this really strange shape. So these are organic shapes that are found naturally in nature, and these are our geometric shapes that we are all learning from kindergarten all the way through school. We can use and name these shapes. So today we're going to be learning about how to draw organic shapes to make them look like germs. I hope that you've taken a minute to go through the first slides in this presentation and watch the video on germs. That will help you. So if you have not done that yet, please go ahead and pause this video and go back to your presentation and do that now. Okay, let's get started on our drawing. The first thing that we want to do is we want to begin with a black crayon. So if everyone can find your black, doesn't matter if it's broken or if it has a point. Sometimes people even break them in half so they can share with their friends or their siblings, and that's perfectly fine. We're just going to use a black crayon because most people have this available. Okay? The first thing that we want to do is we want to draw some shapes that look like those wonderful shapes we saw in the video. If you watch the video, you may have seen some shapes like this. You may have seen some things that look like they were moving, like this one. Maybe you saw something kind of wiggly. Even this one looks interesting. Looks like it's got tons and tons of little hairs or legs all over it. And then there's this one. So lots of these really, really weird shapes all throughout the video that we saw. And of course, there's good germs and bad germs. So today we're going to focus on just the shapes, organic shapes, and then we're going to focus on using different types of lines to make it look like our germs are on the move today. Okay, so here we go. The first shape that I want to draw is something similar to a really fat potato. So I'm going to start right in the middle, and I'm going to start off as if I'm drawing an oval. Then I'm going to curve in a little bit, curve back out, curve in a little bit, back out and around. So there's my first organic shape. Kind of looks like a Mr. Potato Head. Okay. All right. So now let's look at the next shape. Next shape looks more kind of like a water droplet, but it's got a curve to it. So this is the shape right here that we want to draw. So it's almost an oval that kind of comes to a point on one side. So let's work on that one. So I'm going to come over here a little bit. I want to make a big backward letter C. And then I'm going to come down and around, back over. Or we can come down and swing around this way and back to a point. So there's two ways that we can go about doing that. We start off with those big circles, not quite a finished circle, and we can make another one over here, kind of like we did the potato, or we can kind of come to a point, swing around this way and come to a point. So it almost kind of looks like an exclamation point. Okay, now let's just do one that kind of looks like Jello. So I'm going to start over here off the side of my page, and I'm just going to kind of wiggle my crayon, and I'm going to go off up here at the top. So now we have 4 different kinds of germs. So let's make one that looks like this one right here. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to come down here a little bit, maybe to this side right here. And I am going to start off with a wiggle, and I'm going to draw one side first. So wiggle, wiggle, wiggle down. Now I want to create the other side. So I'm going to follow this same kind of line all the way down. So if it goes out here, it's got to go in here. It's going to kind of do the opposite. As I get toward the end, I want it to come in a little bit. So it almost kind of looks like a snake. I'll give you just a second to do that, and you're more than welcome to pause the video at any time and get caught up. Okay, I think I'm going to do another one going off the page over here. So I think I'm going to do one that kind of looks like he's standing up and moving with his head, and then he's got a blob down here, and he's got maybe a little tail at the bottom. Okay, and maybe let's do one that's almost kind of round, just a little bit of waves in it. We'll leave it like that for now. We'll go back and add in some details later. All right, now I want to do one that's really, really splashy. Looks like he's on a really wild roller coaster. He's really weird, isn't he? Okay. All right, and I have a little bit of room over here on this side, so maybe I can do one that's kind of coming in to the picture a little bit like that. And just to keep it balanced, since I've got a lot of white space up here, I'm going to go ahead and just do maybe a thin one that we can see right from the edge up here. Okay, so now we're done with our black crayon. We want to get out some other crayons and some really pretty colors. So I'm probably not going to use gray or brown or white or this peach color. I'm going to kind of stick with the really bright colors that'll really show up so that you guys can see those really well. So what we want to do now is we want to go back into the black lines that we created and add some beautiful patterns to our germs. You can even draw what looks like little legs or little tiny hairs around the germs. You can do patterns inside, what looks like eyes or mouths. Lots of different kinds of things you can do. Remember our spirals that we did? This one actually has zigzags. This one just has some little lines for texture. I love this one. It kind of reminds me of like a brain coral that you would find in the ocean. And this one's kind of cool too, with the circles with a different color on the inside. And this is circles as well, but it's just solid. So there's lots of ways that we can do that. This one over here even has triangles in it. So I want you to use your imagination to come up with lots and lots of different patterns for all of these different germs. So pause your video, finish coloring your page, and then come back to me. Okay, welcome back everybody. We're going to pretend right now that I have colored in these germs. I want to show you how to add a little bit of texture around the outside edges as well as show some movement. Most of the time, germs are moving within our body, and so this would be almost a liquid type area right here, almost like these germs are moving in water. But they're inside our body. Remember, these might be good germs. That's what we're going to focus on today. Okay? So if I had colored this one a purple color, then I might want to keep, you wouldn't see all of the circles on all of them because some of these are kind of moving off the side of the germ. But I might want to keep my outside texture using the same color. So I'm going to go through and just put some lines like this. All the way around that little germ. And then to indicate movement, I'm going to go back, and I think I'm going to do movement with my blue this time. If you'll notice on the original sample that I did, my movement lines are actually in black on this one. It really doesn't matter what you choose to do. So once you have got your colors in, you can go in and just add some curved lines where it looks like this thing is just kind of wiggling back and forth. Just like that. If you want it to look like something is kind of moving in a certain direction, then I'm going to move my movement lines, and maybe it comes off back here a little bit. So that kind of shows that germ moving across the page. Okay. If you remember, last year we talked a little bit about how colors have friends that are complementary. That means they pay compliments to each other and they really like each other. And complementary colors are colors that are directly across from each other on the color wheel. So if you look at the color wheel, the color directly across from red is green. Those are complements. The color directly across from yellow is violet, and the color directly across from orange is blue. So yellow and purple are complementary, so I'm going to use yellow and purple on here. It doesn't mean that I can't use other colors. I absolutely can. But I just wanted to show you really quickly how you could finish out one of your germs. And there we have it. There's our first germ. So I would like for you to go ahead and finish out coloring in all these other germs with beautiful patterns that you have learned about. You could do patterns with lines like this. Or you could do patterns where you color in lightly after you've added your pattern. And this is just the same color. So you're more than welcome to do that. Keep it very simple. Don't forget, you want to go back and add those beautiful movement lines around all of your germs so it looks like they're moving and they're alive, because germs are alive, right? Awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this project. I'm going to put this here for just a second in case you would like to pause this video here. And then this is my finished one. And some of you may notice a little bit of gray around the edges. I did this on the sides of some of these just to make it look like they weren't flat, that they were up off the page a little bit. So some places you'll see that there's a little bit of some gray shadow in there. That's up to you whether you want to do that or not. That's a little bit more challenging, but you can definitely give it a try. I hope you guys have enjoyed this lesson, and I can't wait to see your germs on the move.